So hello everyone, my name is Bharat and today we are going to discuss Introduction to Automata and DFAs. So why we need it? Because it is one of the most fundamental courses in computer science that will help you understand how people have thought about computer science as a science in the past 50 years. So let us start with our introduction part. So our first topic is Introduction to Automata Theory. So automata theory, also known as theory of computation, is a theoretical branch of computer science and mathematics. Automata is originated from the word automation, which deals with the logic of computation with respect to simple machines, referred to as automata. Automata enables the scientist to understand how machines compute the function and solve problems. It mainly talks about what kind of things can you really compute mechanically, how fast and how much space does it takes to do so. The main motivation behind developing automata theory was to develop methods to describe and analyze the dynamic behavior of discrete systems. So before understanding the concept of finite state machine, we need to understand some basic terminologies. So the first one is symbol, which is the smallest building block, which can be any alphabet, letter or any picture. For example, A, B, C, 0, 1, 2 and so on. The second one is alphabet, which is denoted by sigma, and it is a finite collection of symbols. For example, the set of A and B, that are set of 2 symbols, set of C, D, E is the set of 3 symbols and so on. The next one is a string, that is a sequence of symbol. For example, A, B, 0, 1, A, B, B and so on. So coming to the next one, that is language. Language is a set of strings. For example, sigma 0, 1. Here 0 and 1 are the alphabets. So to understand language, let us build some language over these two alphabets 0 and 1. So let us take example. The first example is L1, which is the set of all strings of length 2. This is the set of all elements of length 2. Here 0, 0 having length 2, 0, 1 having the length 2 and so on. So let's take another language L2. Here we are taking set of all strings of length 3. So these are the elements of all string of length 3. So here 0, 0, 0 is the element of length 3 and so on. So let us take the language L3, which is the set of all strings that begins with 0. So this is the set of all elements that starts with 0 having the first element as 0 and so on. So in the language L3, we cannot predict or give the accurate results of elements that will be coming in the set 3. So this one is the infinite set and the language L1 and L2 are the finite sets. So we can conclude that L1 and L2 are the finite sets because they have finite number of elements, where L3 is the infinite set as the elements in it are infinite. So the next one is powers of sigma. So to understand this, let us take an example. Let's say sigma 0, 1, then sigma to the power 0 is equal to set of all strings having length 0, that is sigma power 0 is equal to epsilon. This epsilon is here because the set of empty set is denoted by epsilon. So the next one, that is sigma power 1, that is the set of all strings having length 1, that is sigma power 1 is equal to 0, 1. Here both 0 and 1 are having length 1. And the next one is sigma power 2 is the set of all strings having length 2. Here sigma to the power 2 is equal to 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0 and 1, 1. Here all the elements are having length of 2. So 0, 0 is having the length 2, 0, 1 is having the length 2 and so on. And we reach to sigma power to the power n, which is set of all strings having length n. So the next term we need to understand is cardinality. So cardinality means the number of elements in a set. So let's quickly check cardinality of powers of sigma in the previous slide. So here sigma power 0 is having only one element, so its cardinality would be 1, and similarly sigma power 1 is having the elements 2, so cardinality of sigma power 1 would be 2, and similarly sigma power 2 the cardinality would be 4. So you can see the sigma power 0 cardinality is 1, sigma power 1 the cardinality is 2, and the sigma power 3 the cardinality would be 8 and so on. And coming to the sigma power n, the cardinality would be 2 to the power n. So let us talk about finite state automata, as we have already talked about the basic terminologies which we require to understand this finite state automata. So finite state automata is a simple mode of computation or the basic model of computation, and it has very limited memory. And the finite automata is divided into two broad categories, that are finite state automata with output and the finite state automata without output. And the finite state automata with output is again divided into two categories. The first one is Moore machine and the second one is Mealy machine. And the finite state automata without output is again divided into three categories. The first one is deterministic finite automata or the DFA. The second one is non-deterministic finite automata or the NFA. And the third one is sigma non-deterministic finite automata or the sigma NFA. So in this video we are basically going to cover DFA and its application. So let's continue with that. So now let us talk about deterministic finite automata or the DFA using a diagram. So this is our diagram. So here you can see there are some circles in which there are some alphabets A, B, C, D, and the D is in the double circle, and you can see that there are some arrows going from A to B, B to D, D to C, and so on, and there are some labels of 1 and 0 in the diagram. So first of all, talking about the arrow that is coming from nowhere and pointing towards A. So this is our first state or the start state. So this we can take as a start state. These others are also the states. B is the state, D is the state, C is the state. And when the arrow going from A to B and having a label 1, so we are going to state B. Going from A to B is known as the transition state, and again from B we are going to D when taking an input 0. So D is the transition state over here. Similarly, when we are going from A to C and having the input 0, here C is the transition state, and the D which is having double circle is known as the final state, means here the diagram is complete. We can understand DFA by using 5 tuples. So the first one is Q, that is a finite set of all states. In this diagram we are having 4 states. The second one is sigma, that is a finite set of all the input symbols, and Q naught is the initial state or the A, and capital F is the final state. Here D is the final state. Delta is the transition function that maps from Q to sigma. In this diagram, as I have already told you, Q is the all the states we are having. So here A, B, C, D, and sigma is the inputs we are having. Here there are two types of inputs, 0 and 1. Q naught is the initial state or the start state, and F is the final state, that is the D, means D is the final state. So let us understand deterministic finite automata using some examples. So the first example is L1, that is set of all strings that starts with 0. So we have to make a set of strings that in which the elements should start with 0. So this is the set of strings in which the elements are starting from 0 going up to infinity. So this is an infinite set. So let us make a DFA out of it. So first we need a initial state. So here A is our initial state, and it should accept some inputs 0 and 1, and so that it will go to another state. So when it is accepting 0 as an input, it is going to another state B, and again B will also accept some input 0 and 1, and it will go in some other state. But here we have defined B as a final state, so we have created a self loop. So if there are any given number of inputs of 0 and 1, the output will stay at B. Similarly, if at the initial state we get a input as 1, it will go to some state that we have defined it as C, that is the dead state, as our condition is the set of strings should start with, or the elements should start with 0. So when we get the input 1, it is going to C, and we have created a self loop here also, as when we will get the input 0 and 1, it will stay in C. So this is our DFA, and C here is our dead state or a trap state. So let us confirm or verify this DFA using some examples. So first we are taking string 001. So first we are starting from the initial state A, and when it is taking input as 0, it is going to B. So it is correct. When we are getting inputs 0, it is going to B. Again, when we are getting input as 0 in B, it is again going to B, as we have made a self loop here and it is a final state, so it will stay in B. Again, when we are giving input as 1, it is again staying at B only. So this is a final state. So the first string would be accepted. So this one is correct. So let us take an example where the string not starting with 0 but 1. So again there would be an initial state, that is our A is our initial state, and we are giving our input as 1, so it is going to C. It is correct. Again when we are giving the input as 0, it is staying in C only. Yes, because we have made a self loop here. And again when giving the input 1 to the C, it is staying in the C only. So here conditions are not satisfying for the above string which we were given, so it is at that state and the string would not be accepted. So now let us take another example. So we have to construct a DFA that accepts all the strings over 0 and 1 of length 2. So this is our input 0 and 1, and this is a set of strings, or you can say the set of inputs that the DSA should accept. So let us make a DFA out of it. So we have defined A as an initial state, or the arrow coming from nowhere coming to A means that it is an initial state. So this A would accept some inputs 0 or 1 and would give another state. So let us say that the another state is B. When 0 1 input is accepted by A, it goes to the transition state of B, and again the B would have some inputs in the form of 0 and 1, it will go to C. So now at C we are having the length of string 2. So you can say from A to B the length is 1, B to C the length is 2. So here we can say that C is our final state, but C would also accept some inputs, so random input 0 and 1. So it is going to another state, that is D state, and here there is a self loop. When we will give the inputs 0 and 1 to D, it will stay in D. So and this state is a dead state or a trap state, because we have to take only the length up to 2. So the length up to 2 is still C. So C is our final state and A is an initial state. So let us take an example to verify that we have taken a string 0 0. So we have taken a initial state as A and we are giving an input as 0. So we are getting B as a transition state, and again we are giving an input 0 over here and we are getting the final state C. So according to the DFA, C is our final state. So this string 0 0 would be accepted and it is correct. So this string is accepted, and let's check the another example. Let us check out of it, will it be accepted or not. So here our initial state A given an input 1 gives the transition state B, and when B gets the input 0, it gives it to C, and C when gives the input to C when gets the input 1, it gives it to D. So let us check it. When getting the input 1, this is going to the D, and here D is a dead state or trap state, so this string would not be accepted. So now as we have defined the DFAs using the two examples, and I think it is clear now. So there are some strings that the DFA accepts and there are some strings that the DFA doesn't accept. So we have to verify it using some strings. So now let us come to the sub applications of DFAs. So first application is the pattern matching, which is the process of checking whether a specific sequence of character tokens data exists among the given data or not. The second one is the regular programming language make use of a regular expression or regex for pattern matching. It is also used to find and replace a matching pattern in a text or a code with another text code. Pattern matching is used to determine whether source file of high-level languages are syntactically correct or not. Any application that supports search functionality uses pattern matching in one way or another. So the next application of DFA is in compilers. When we use compilers, in every programming language, the first step in the compiler or the interpreter is the lyrics. The lyrics reads in a file of your favorite programming language and produces a sequence of token. For example, if you have this line in C++. So the next application of DFA is for artificial intelligence. which is the another application of finite automata, is programming simple agents to respond to inputs and produce action in some way. You can write a full program, but a DFA is often enough to do the job. DFAs are also easier to reason about and easier to implement. So here I end my video. Hope you liked it and got to know some ideas about DFA and some basic terminologies or some introduction to. So thank you. Bye.